City leaders are also looking to find solutions to the gun violence in our community. We're joined now by Mayor Craig Greenberg. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you all tonight.
I think first we want to ask about Officer Wilt. Of course, everybody's been praying for him. Do you know how he's doing? Is there an update?
I got an update from the chief this morning, and he is still in critical condition. He is stable at the moment, and the University of Louisville Hospital doctors and medical team there continue to do an excellent job. So we continue to need prayers. We continue to need to support them, but he is in good hands, and we are hoping for the best. The next couple of days are absolutely critical as he continues to recover.
Well, Mayor, we saw you in the background, that footage from the Chickasaw Park. You've been, Mayor, you know, since you started, it seems like you've been doing this too many times, having to visit families and talk about the gun violence. What is going on? What can be done?
Well, there's a lot that can be done, and so that's what I'm focused on, are short and long-term solutions to address and reduce the amount of gun violence. Whether it's a mass shooting at a park, as you just saw, whether it's a mass shooting at a bank, whether it's an individual shooting on a street corner, whether it's a suicide in someone's home, any act of gun violence that harms or takes someone's life is tragic, it's unacceptable, and we can do something about it. And so that's what I'm focused on. That's why I'm talking to members of Metro Council about what we can do locally, what we can do at a state level, but we need to change the law. There is so much, and so that's why I am asking our friends in the General Assembly to give Louisville autonomy to deal with our gun violence epidemic in a unique way. There might be different issues that we're dealing with here that don't happen in other parts of the state. So let us deal with things differently here. Let us destroy guns that are used to kill people and commit crimes. Let us have the ability to have waiting periods for first-time gun buyers. Give us an opportunity to have concealed carry permit requirements here in Louisville. There are a lot of things that we can do, but we need more tools from the state. In the meantime, we'll keep investing in mental health resources in Louisville. We'll keep investing in improving our parks and ensuring that our parks and all public spaces are safe. We'll continue to support members of LMPD to continue to do the great job they're doing.
We know that all eyes are on Louisville because of this situation, but also we have one of the most important times of the year for the city.
Yeah.
How do you reassure not only our community, but everybody else who's coming to visit that our city is safe for Derby?
Well, it is, and I just came from a meeting just about an hour ago with LMPD, all of our emergency services, talking about the plans for Thunder this weekend, and then all of the other Kentucky Derby Festival events leading up to the Kentucky Derby. You know, most of these shootings, they are all tragic. They are targeted for the most part. Our LMPD is very focused on ensuring that everyone's experience over the coming weeks is safe and will be safe, and we are committed to just that.
Well, are you doing any targeted extra patrols, or what does that safety look like for people?
So when you are coming downtown this Saturday, for example, at Thunder, there will be a significant police presence. Every member of LMPD is working regardless of whether they're stationed downtown or someone else in the community. There are certain all-hands-on days, and that's one of them there at Thunder. And then we're also working with other agencies, the Kentucky State Police, Jefferson County Sheriff, other local law enforcement agencies, to ensure that we have the resources so people are safe and they feel safe.
The other message is the value of life. Some people don't have it, and unfortunately, you stared into the eyes of someone that was not valuing it. What did you see? What can be done when someone decides to shoot at someone?
This is why we need to invest in more resources to address the root causes of poverty, to address mental health disorders. There are far too many young people in particular who have lost hope. And they've made the decision for some reason or another to pick up a gun and use it for the wrong reason. And that's what we can invest in. We can invest in early childhood education and make universal pre-K a reality. We can work with JCPS to ensure that every student is getting a great education. We can invest more in our community centers to have those hours open more on the weeknights and on the weekends so kids have enrichment, athletic, educational opportunities outside of schools. But we also need help from parents. We need help from aunts and uncles, from grandparents, from loved ones. If you know a child who you think might be struggling, if you think they might be hanging out with the wrong people, if you think they might be headed down a wrong path, say something. Just like on Saturday night, if you saw something at Chickasaw Park on Saturday night, call 574-LMPD. It's anonymous. If you don't want to do that, tell somebody who will call. If you heard something, we need help. And we need help from every member of the community to make our city safer. Everyone can play a role on making their house safer, their neighborhood safer, our city safer, whether it's in a small way or a large way. And that's one of the things that, as heartbreaking as the past week has been, it has been heartwarming to see the support and the strength of our city coming together to unite against gun violence and for a safer city.
You mentioned it a little bit. One of the most disturbing things I think about this past week is that with the shooting in the park, no one wanted to say anything.
Yeah, hundreds of witnesses.
Right. Has the police, have they received any tips?
We are continuing to work the investigation very aggressively, and so I'm not going to comment on where we are in that right now, but we definitely would appreciate people who were at Chickasaw Park on Saturday night to call 574-LMPD. It's an anonymous tip line, and share any information that you might have.